Yes, Mrs. Clinton, there is problems with mental issues, okay, that people have to deal with you say the police department has to deal with, the communities has to deal with the mental issues and all this stuff, and retraining the officers and all these kind of things, and that's good and all fair. But you got to realize also the mental illness you cause the police department that has to go to these communities on a daily basis, like I said, and their minds get stained and their minds get set on, look, if your common enemy becomes, say the black males are committing most crime, okay, in the community, then the problem you have is that these people are basically in denial about this, okay? You're gonna have to figure out that the people there in these communities, well, they're basically okay, listen, they are the number one orchestrators of crime and wherever they live, okay? So if the number one orchestrators of crime, say the main encounters of crime are race of black, right? Let's just say it's the black race, okay? The ones committing the most crime in America is the black race. Then that goes on a daily basis, and law enforcement is supposed to be on the good side, and these are the criminals. Then these guys have to, you got to admit, they have to build up some kind of bias just by repeated just by them being the quote unquote enemy that they encounter on a daily basis. This is the problem why we cannot speak openly, see? And you guys trying to cut me off from what I wanted to say right now with your little machines, microwaves, and shit, alright? That Love Clark, alright? Love you guys. And anyway, by the way, that's my opinion, alright? But I think it makes sense. And the police department also, you got to consider their mental health issues also. Not, because they get, they go through a lot, and sometimes we need to really consider when it's time to shuffle them, or sometimes these guys need to be off the force after a while, a certain amount, kind of like well, it's like war veterans basically. And these war zones, these are war zones. But the funny thing also is they sure look like the same war zones. It sounds kind of like, just like in remember in Back to the Future 2, when all those people with the guns, and guns were just a crazy, and it was a gun battle in the downtown and all that. Yeah, in Back to the Future. Yeah. Okay, Biff. Alright. So, I don't know who built the time machine. I don't know who's got them. But I'm suspect. Anyway, some of us maybe, biased towards the police department based on our personal experience, but I still want to stand up for them to a degree that they need help with mental health, as well as the people that are the supposed criminals, Mrs. Clinton. So, and also remember with the racial issue of the police and the black community. Think about it. If the black community just be honest and let the numbers sink into your brains. Okay? If they're committing the most crime on a daily basis, and the police are encountering bad people. Okay? Stop and frisk goes against your constitution, right? But don't you want those bad black people in your community that you can't speak out against? Don't you want them thrown in jail? Or do you want to put up with them? You know? But you can't speak out because, you know, you'll be looked at in a bad light by the rest of your community as a Uncle Tom, or a sellout to the white man, or whatever, you know. Don't let other people's biased overrule your ability to judge. Use good judgment. Anyway, so, you know, at the same time, if they are encountering the black community as the enemy on a daily basis, and that's mainly all that they encounter, then yes, they're going to build up some kind of negative attitude towards certain communities when they go there. That's natural. It's going to happen. Wherever the crime is, if the people were crying, look, it really is. Look, if it was happening, I believe if it was happening with whatever's race it was that was committing more crime, okay, the people would build up that kind of attitude towards them. So it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's who. Let's be honest with the numbers and who is actually committing the most crime. That is why the police also has this bias towards the black community. Think about it. Put yourself in the shoes of the police department for a second, you know, and think about that. Maybe the police need some mental counseling too. Okay? So it's at Love Clark. And think about that, Mrs. Clinton. And also Biff, you know, too. Alright?